northern Latimer County. This storm is approaching a boundary where there's added low-level spin, and that's why we're concerned about a possible tornado here into portions of northern Pittsburgh County. And so this is actually going to be south of McIntosh County, just south of but right over Arrowhead State Park, we have this distinct rotation on radar. This is going to be moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour, 35 miles per hour, and that would put the rotation getting between Quinton and Enterprise here in the next few moments. So we need to be taking our tornado precautions in areas basically along into the east of Highway 69. So I'm going to wind this out just a little bit and bring you an updated track on this storm as it's moving that direction. I'm going to first look at just how exactly fast this is moving, because once again, this is going to continue east. It's at about 40 miles per hour. So we're going to take this over portions of extreme northeastern Pittsburgh County, and it's going to be, that might be a little fast, but we want you to have the heads up here in Quinton at 9:41. This will be approaching your location. Kenta, 9:50 to 9:52, and Stigler right at about 10 a.m. You're at the kind of northern edge of this risk area still, but we want you to be in your tornado shelter, your safe spot, as this is approaching. So this will be right along Highway 69 and to the east where this is the potential. In addition to this potential rotation, or definite rotation and potential tornado, there's also high winds. We're likely sampling 70-mile-per-hour winds here that are going to be right here in the same area where the rotation is found, moving to the east. Once again, we're going to see a few spots in a few communities getting some of the high winds up to 70 miles per hour. I'm going to check correlation coefficient and not really seeing, there's a slight drop there where I'm not seeing too much, though, in the way yet of a tight enough circulation, but one that bears watching. I'm going to see how that goes with another scan. Nonetheless, this is going to continue its way eastward at about 40 miles per hour. I do want to bring in some of the hail risk with this as well. And we're seeing hail that could be getting close to the size of, well, certainly over quarters and perhaps sampling, yeah, that's at least saying quarter-size hail within this cell as well. So that's just one added risk factor as this storm is moving to the east. So that's what we have. We have a tornado warning until 9:45, and it is for, once again, areas of far northeastern Pittsburgh County. You can see that distinct rotation right there. It's broad, but there are some pretty strong circulating winds within this, and that's why there is that concern of a spin up. And this is going to be north of Highway 31 right here. I'm going to give you a closer view just so you can get a sense of exactly where this is located. If you are in this area, you're wanting to know, the rotation point is going to be very close to Carlton Landing right now. So we're looking at the south end of Lake Eufaula for that potential tornado. Noticing that, you know, strong outward winds. This is going to be approaching Russellville Roads right here. There's Highway 9, so straddling Highway 9 as well. So that is kind of where we're finding this. Now, if you're watching us from the Tulsa area, this is not a concern for a tornado in the Tulsa area. This is looking south of I-40, Pittsburgh County, but north of McAllister. So if you're watching us from McAllister, you're not in a zone of danger as well. Here's the broader view. We do have a smattering of storms extending from Stillwell all the way down to McAllister. And as these storms are approaching a boundary that's set up pretty close to Fort Smith and angling right through the counties in our southeastern zone here, that's where we have that added spin. It's moving into a more unstable air mass, so that storm is getting a bit tighter, more organized, strengthening, and as such, this is prompting that tornado warning. That's what we have right now. Some of the communities, once again, impacted: Stigler, Crowder, Kenta, LaQuire, Louisville, Quinton, Whitefield, Canadian, Enterprise, and Featherston, all within that warning zone. Back to the circulation. Here we are again. Very strong winds heading outward toward the radar site in Fort Smith. That's reading into the storm at several thousand feet above the surface. And once again, this is going to be a tight circulation just south of the Highway 69, Highway 9 interchange here. So this is going to continue its way eastward. Highway 71 seen here near Enterprise and Quinton. This is going to be getting your direction. Here's an updated timeline on this, kind of taking it from kind of the center point here to the east at about, well, 40 miles per hour. We'll redraw that so we can get a better track on this. Taking it eastward once again. There is our path. So Enterprise 944, this is where you need to be in your safe spot right now. Hewhart, Hugart right there at 9:52, Louisville at 9:55, Kenta closing in on 10 a.m., and then San Boy about 10:04. So just be aware this is where you want to be in your sheltered locations at this time. Going ahead and jumping, once again, Tulsa area, all is quiet right now, not dealing with anything in terms of severe weather. The rain, in fact, is coming to an end. That severe threat is winding down for any place really north of I-40 at this point. If you are in this tornado warning, your phone has gone off, you've received the alert, the action you need to be taking is moving to the lowest floor, most interior part of your house. That adds walls between you and outside, layers of protection for flying debris. And in a worst case scenario, flying debris could be getting in where you are, if this tornado is in your location, of course. So wear shoes, protect your feet following the possible tornado there. And then a helmet or blanket or pillows, grab that, throw it on as you head into your safe place. That will add protection from any flying debris. We're going to continue to stream here on air and hopefully online. And then, of course, we've got, we'll be letting you know when you're clear. So anywhere to the west, we know of Highway 69 is in the clear at this time. All right, back to radar here. We're going to go back here to the circulation, and what we find is south of Highway 9 is where we're still getting that rotation. We have those strong outward winds coming out. Quentin, you're still in the path of this, where we're watching this very closely, and you're likely to get high winds whether or not you're getting a tornado or not. So still going to be a situation where you want to hunker down there. So looking at correlation coefficient, not seeing anything all that concerning right now in terms of lofted debris, but something that is certainly that could happen with this boundary that's sitting very close to where our storm is intersecting this storm. Here's the wider view, and it shows you the motion. It's on a fairly easterly trajectory going right over that boundary, and that's where we're concerned about that added spin taking place and therefore a possible tornado. We once again have, there is also a broader severe thunderstorm warning. This was warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds, in addition to a hail threat up to the size of quarters. And this will be in areas, once again, south of I-40. So if you're joining us from anywhere north of I-40, you're not dealing with any severe weather. You're not in the danger zone. This is going to be to the northeast of McAllister and pretty promptly heading into western Haskell County. That's the place that is most likely to be in the immediate threat of this possible tornado. Once again, our circulation here, it's broad, but we're still seeing some pretty strong winds, especially flowing towards the radar site here, which would indicate some maybe 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. I'm going to sample this and just give you a sense of what the radar is reading in terms of winds. And looks like we're getting probably about 60 to 70 mile per hour winds with that right there. We'll take you back to the hail indicator, and this is going to take us down here into portions of fall. It seems like it may have dropped off a little bit in terms of the size of the hail, but we're getting a pretty broad area with that hail potential, with the heaviest of the hail still, as you see with the update here, dropping off a touch, moving east and right along the Haskell-Pittsburgh County boundary here. So you can see the lake right here. So we're seeing this as the location where we've got the hail and also our circulation. And as we add on the velocities, that circulation is off to the south of the lake, so it's over the land, and it is going to continue east pretty close to Highway 9. Right now, if you're along Highway 9 or have friends that are along Highway 9, please let them know that they need to certainly avoid driving into this zone and make sure that they're heading to a safe place to be. Back to the circulation, it's still a pretty tight one that we're looking at to the northwest of Quentin. This does appear that the tightest circulation will pass maybe just a hair north of town and perhaps just a little bit south of Enterprise. But this is going to be continuing its way into an environment that is likely to continue to support the threat for a tornado here. So looking right now, still getting indications of strong winds within the low-level rotation as this is exiting Pittsburgh County. It's straddling the line right here. So that's the Haskell County line. We've got Pittsburgh County right here. And this warning, it does extend well into the county itself for this 40-mile-per-hour eastward movement. So please be in your shelter from Quentin. I would say up to Whitefield, down to Kenta, Stigler, and LaQuire. These are all the spots that are kind of bounding this risk zone. So please be sheltering. Certainly, hopefully the schools that are watching, make sure the kids are in their safe places as well as we look to this zone here. it does appear that the strongest winds are coming into Quinton right now. So that would mean a 70-mile-per-hour wind threat, regardless if there's a tornado or not. This is also probably picking up on some of the highest levels of hail here along Highway 9 to speak of, just to the west of Enterprise. So that's another spot we're watching very closely for just the hail threat. And the updated scan here will show there's our inflow notch right here just to the west of Highway 71. And that's where we'll find the corresponding circulation, which extends kind of in an angle back this way. But that circulation does seem to really kind of kick off just a few miles to the northwest of Quinton, with a few points of circulation even within that. But nonetheless, it is not a definite thing that we have it on the ground as we jump to correlation coefficient, and we're not seeing anything co-located, any drop in the correlation coefficient to indicate debris where we have that circulation. So that is good news for us there. But we still want you to take this seriously, as this warning does extend into an environment capable of producing a tornado, low-level winds, and the moisture-rich environment is feeding into this cell as we speak. I'm going to widen the view a little bit. If you're just joining us, we're watching a tornado warning here in southeast Oklahoma. This is going to be well away from the Tulsa metro area, well to the south of Muskogee, and off to the northeast of McAllister. So it's really from extreme northeastern Pittsburgh County all the way into portions of Haskell County, extreme northern Latimer County. So that's the one storm of concern. It's the only one that is warned in our viewing area at this time. And as of now, they continue this warning. They also continue the threat for quarter-size hail and up to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts with this storm. I'm going to back it up so you can see just the overall movement. Tulsa in the upper left shows the clearing trend that is taking place here, and the eastward movement of this cell, once again into an environment that is moisture rich, that has the instability, and though it is not a time of day we tend to see tornadoes, this is such an instability moment, at least with the environment, that it can still spawn a tornado even at this hour. That's why we're joining you here live on Fox 23 to keep you informed as this continues its way into a spot that we're wanting you to take shelter. This would be in most of Haskell County right now, at least for the southern 2/3 of the county. Please be heading to your safe spot as we speak. All right, jumping back to velocity. Still fairly evident on radar. It's very evident on radar. It is tight enough that this still warrants having a warning out, and there is the potential for that tornado very close to Highway 71 now. This is getting a little closer to Quinton, still to the south of Enterprise, but once again, these things can just kind of wobble north and south, so we want folks anywhere near this zone to be ready to seek shelter. And latest circulation seems to be a bit tighter there. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the new storm track on this. This is going to continue eastward at about 40 miles per hour. So at the northern extent of this, Hugard about 9:49. We're looking at Kenta by 9:53. San Boys about 10 o'clock. LaQuire by 10:04. And we've brought this all the way to Panther now by 10:13. So all locations listed. Move to your safe shelter. We will let you know when you're in the clear. This is straddling the Pittsburgh and Haskell County line. I can't quite give the clear for extreme northeastern Pittsburgh County yet, but if you are along Highway 69 or especially to the west, you're just fine. This storm is bypassing you quite readily. It's moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour. This is going to continue to be a threat for primarily Haskell County. And if there's a wobble south, we've got extreme northern Latimer County also included within this zone. It does appear that the environment is going to be supportive of a tornado as we continue all the way into even northern LaFleur County as well. So if you are finding yourself watching us from maybe even Keota, Bacoshi area, be ready for this to come on through. It is likely to still persist as a circulation, if not even a tornado, and certainly the threat for very high winds and the hail potential there as well on the north side of this circulation. Let's go closer in and take a look at this because, as I've noted, this is a bit of a tighter circulation showing up here. Distinct color, of course, matching here between the green and the red. When they're tight and close like this, that's when we usually have an added indication there is possibly a tornado. And it looks like we just may have had a new tornado warning go up on this cell. So as I clear that alert, that's going to take us all the way till 10:15 this morning. So that new warning, I'll zoom out so we can see the new potential area, and it's really encompassing much of the same area. They've cut just a little bit north. It might include Stigler itself now. So if you are in Stigler, go ahead and be heading to that safe place and taking your tornado precautions. Here's our latest scan. Go closer in so I can get a better view of this circulation, which is now crossing Highway 71 as we speak. North of Quinton is where we still find the inbound winds into the storm. That would be indicated here in the red, and then the outbound here in the green. And it's right in Quinton where we're likely getting those powerful wind gusts at this time. And this will continue its way through much of central Haskell County. So aside from really the immediate Quinton area, the rest of Pittsburgh County is in the clear from this tornado threat. But this will continue to be a concern for anywhere in Haskell County, except for maybe up towards Enterprise, where we're dealing with just the heavy rain and potential for some hail. Hopping onto reflectivity right now, it's a distinct inflow notch. You can see the lack of precipitation here because the winds are being forced upward and holding up a lot of that precipitation where we have that inflow. And where we have that drop off is where we have some of the highest threat of circulations developing there. So north sides of Quinton, that's the place where we might have a tornado. So we want you to be taking your precautions right now. And you can see the update here. It still continues to indicate a pretty tight circulation developing. But as we hop over here, yeah, we're getting some pretty strong inbound winds. And right over Quinton right now, we have that potential for a tornado. So please be seeking shelter at this time. I'm going to hop out of this for just a moment and bring you some updated tips for what you should be doing. We are still we're well into severe weather season, but you may be taking cover for the first time, so we want you to be aware of what to do. So we want you to, first of all, know to go to the lowest floor, most interior part of your house. That's going to keep you safest. Wearing shoes to keep your feet safe. If there's debris that you have to navigate around, that's important. Bring that with you to your safe spot. A helmet might seem silly to wear, but if you throw it on, you're going to protect your head, of course, if there is flying debris, just like you would from an impact and a fall. You also can use a pillow or blanket to bring about some help as well. And of course, we're going to continue to stream on air and online, so you can watch us, and we'll give you the all clear as necessary. There is more severe weather potential. We want you to just be aware. Today's highest threat is south of Tulsa, and that threat is pretty much in a broad area for the entire region on Thursday, and is thankfully a bit lower into your Friday. All right, let's get right back to our radar so we get a sense of where the storms are moving. They're still moving to the east at a pretty good clip, and they're moving into a moisture-rich environment that is supportive of a tornado. The speed of the storm has dropped off a little bit to now closer to probably 30 miles per hour or so in terms of the movement. And this is going to continue into Haskell County. The warning will take us till 10:15. It's within the red boxes that you see here. They've just kind of redrawn the warning to adjust for slight change in that movement. Our circulation, it's still pretty tight, and it's very close to Quinton right now. I'm going to broaden the view just a touch so you can see where this is headed in the zone here. This is going to be, once again, where we find that circulation is right inside Quinton. I'm going to put this back into motion again just to get the radar operating here so I can use the hand tracking. And there is the movement eastward. This is going to take us, once again, Haskell County. Really, the southern half is probably the most focused point right now for that circulation, but we're going to head back here to the circulation, which is just right here in the corner of Pittsburgh County where it meets Haskell County, right on the north sides of Quinton. Certainly a spot of concern for us. As we take you a little further east, this is going to be bringing it very close to Kenta and then eventually towards Highway 82. So if you're along Highway 2, this is the next place that is up for this circulation to move, and then we're going to get over to Highway 82. And that's where this is likely to continue its movement, probably bounded by areas from near LaQuire up to maybe as far north as Stigler. There's the potential this could maybe take a northward turn, and if it does so, if it's following the path of the boundary just a little bit, that may be why they adjusted it, just in case this circulation tends to follow the zone where we're getting that added turning of the wind. Here's our latest update. Still a tight circulation, and it's just crossing more formally or more entirely into Haskell County right now. So basically where Highway 2 meets Highway 71 just to the north is where we're looking for a potential tornado. I'm going to hop over to correlation coefficient. We're looking decent ways from the radar site, but I'm not seeing anything necessarily in terms of lofted debris, but still this is a zone that still may have a tornado imminently. And you can see just from our next velocity look here, we're getting some pretty strong winds flowing right into here. So would not be surprised if we did have something on the ground here just to the northeast of Quinton now appears to be the area that is most of issue. So now we're just set with our one warning boundary here. So this just kind of showcases the zone that is in the risk area. Here's the movement, once again, eastward at about 30 miles per hour. If you're watching us from anywhere north of I-40, that would include Tulsa and anywhere beyond that, of course, to the north. If you don't see your community on radar, you're okay. This is the only warning we've got in green country right now. And this warning will take us till 10:15 this morning. So it is to the southeast of Eufaula. If you're watching us from Eufaula, you're in the clear. If you're anywhere in Muskogee County, you're in the clear as well, though we still have some heavy rain, potential for some small hail on the southern side of the county right now. Here's our circulation, and it's still very tight to the northeast of Quinton. And haven't got a confirmation that this is on the ground, but we do suspect that there is that risk at any point in time for that to occur. I'm going to put this into motion here so you have a sense of where this is likely headed. Give it about that speed right now. And Kenta, this will be approaching your location at about 9:56. So be prepared to, well, hopefully you're in your shelter. Be there now. We want you to be moving to your shelter, though, a little further to the east. San Boy's about 10:04, LaQuire by 10:10, and Panther by 10:20. Stigler, you're not officially in the path I drew, but I want you to be sheltering as well. If we get a northward turn, you will certainly be in the path of where this potential tornado is. So please be aware of that. And if you're just over into Keota and maybe even into Bekoshi and northern portions of LaFleur County, we want you to go ahead and be prepared to move to shelter as well. This is the severe storm we're watching very closely. This will continue eastward through much of Haskell County right there. It's really following very closely to Highway 31. This may take a bit of a northward turn, but anywhere along Highway 31 in Haskell County needs to be moving to your shelter. This is certainly a concern, especially because we already know we've got 60 to 70 mile per hour winds going with this. Regardless, that is damaging level winds, so we want you to be in a safe place. And anyone driving in Haskell County, we want you to be in a safe place, not in your vehicle. Obviously, we don't want you in that kind of position. Now, if you happen to be maybe a little further to the east, let's say you're Stigler, Keota, Bekoshi, watching us from this zone, if you're in a mobile home or in a place that might not be safe, primarily a home that is on wheels, we want you to make sure that you are moving to a sturdy structure, one that is better equipped to handle tornado level winds. So now would be your point to get to that. But if you are within the warning, we want you to stay outside of the elements and inside your place where you reside, your work, your home, and be hunkered down in the most interior room, most inside part, without outside walls and windows, ideally added layers of protection for the possible flying debris if there is a tornado as we speak. Let's go closer in and examine this circulation. This is located here now fully into Haskell County, so I can give the all clear to anyone in Pittsburgh County at this point. Our circulation now is just to the north of Louisville, just to the south of Hugard, and this will continue its way eastward. Kenta up to about West County Road 1250. This is where we have the tightest circulation about to pass. And if we have a tornado, it would be right in this zone right here. So very close to Louisville. We want you to be sheltered right now. This is where we likely have certainly the spin ongoing and a concern that this will head into an environment that still is supportive of a tornado. So just be aware of that. Let me widen the view a little bit because we're zoomed in here very tightly. This will also continue towards the community of Lafayette as well. So if you are in that region, please be heading to your shelter right now. This is beyond Enterprise. So if you're watching us from Enterprise, you are also in the clear. And that can go for pretty much anywhere outside of Haskell County right now. This is primarily a Haskell County concern. And this storm is moving east at about 30 miles per hour. Jumping ahead here, just want to show you this storm continues its way eastward, just a little wider view. Southeast Oklahoma getting several storms, and there might be another round to follow, at least for our most southern counties right here. As we go closer in to the immediate zone of concern, I've not added on lightning, but I can assure you there is plenty of lightning associated with these storms moving into this environment. It is characterized by high levels of moisture. If you are south here from Wilburton to the Spiro area, even McAllister, you know just how muggy it is outside. It's the fuel for these storms. The storms earlier this morning were elevated. They weren't drawing in surface air that was moisture rich and unstable, so the main threat with what we had earlier was hail, but now that we have moved across a boundary extending through southeast Oklahoma, we've not only added spin to the storm, we've added more fuel for it to keep on going, which is why we are with you right now here on Fox 23 and online as well. Let's go back to our velocities, because that will tell us the story of where we have a potential tornado, and this is why we want you to be heading to a safe place immediately in Haskell County. All right, there's our movement once again to the east at 30 miles per hour. Our circulation here is once again now fully into Haskell County, very close to Kenta, just north of Louisville here. And it's defined by where the green meets the red. That's our circulation there north of Highway 31, just barely north of Highway 31. It's a pretty good way south of Whitefield. So if you are south of Whitefield, please be in your safe place, as there could be a turn north. But if you're from Whitefield northward, you're officially out of the warning. So just be hunkering down, because the rest of the storm is providing some pretty strong winds in addition to a hail threat. That hail threat, by the way, need to change the viewpoint here, but as we take you a little further south, it's going to show that we still definitely have hail with this cell. Give you a closer indication of where that hail is a concern, and that would be really in the southwestern portion of Haskell County. To sample the size on radar, and granted this is a slightly delayed product, so you can basically take the hail size up to about a quarter, that's when we get to about an inch, and project that a little further to the east. So very close to Kenta is where we're likely finding some of the largest hail at this time. Our circulation is east of Quinton, but we still maybe have a few points of circulation within that cell, but most concerned about the leading edge one here to the northeast of, northwest of Kenton there, or Kenta there, I should say. Here's another view, a little closer in. Louisville, there's our latest scan. Still kind of same level of rotation we've seen. Certainly noticing also a point maybe even back here that seems to have some higher circulation winds as well. So if you are near Hugard, I want you still in your safe place right now. We might be getting potentially a little new circulation forming. Let me just check out reflectivity, make sure. If anything, there's some strong winds there for sure. Correlation coefficient, really not showing anything of concern for me right now, but certainly bears watching. Back to our velocity, though. Yeah, we are getting an enhanced area, and that could even just be a sign that we're getting some strong winds altogether. It could be more of a situation where we're getting localized microburster, intense point of some strong straight line winds. Nonetheless, that certainly would bear watching and hunkering down for as well. Same case as the tornado, as that could be damaging wind northeast of Quinton there. Kenta right now, though, that's very close to our point of circulation. We're going to go back to the movement of the storm. Once again, if you're watching us from Tulsa or anywhere north of I-40 for that matter, no severe weather concerns for us. We've dealt with our storms earlier this morning. Southeast Oklahoma, though, is a moisture-rich environment. Lots of instability, and this is a warning that certainly is warranted because there is a tight circulation that is still found down here in two portions of Stigler County, or not Stigler County, Haskell County, to the south of Stigler. By the way, if you're watching us from Stigler right now, this circulation is to your south, but we want you to go ahead and stay in your safe place, because this could be once again, a point where we can get a little curve upward along the boundary, because the boundary is oriented in a east-northeast to west-southwest direction. And sometimes these circulations tend to kind of follow along the boundary, even if the motion of the storm is a little bit more easterly. So that might put a northward jog on it, at least where we find that point of circulation, which is well defined on reflectivity. You can see a clear inflow notch which is cutting off that downward movement of the precipitation because the upward winds are so strong, holding that up. And that would be where the updraft is, where we have, therefore, a circulation along this supercell. Let's go closer in here. I'm going to take the view back over into Haskell County, where we find still kind of a broad area where we have rotation, but it's going to be right here to the north of Quinta along Highway 2 where the greatest concern for a tornado will be. So we go a little closer in here. We want you to be aware that really the circulation is going to be very close to Kenta. I'm going to go ahead and take it eastward from the path here. As it's moving at about 30, 35 miles per hour, this will take it still very close to San Boys, about 10:07, Lafayette, about 10:12, Panther area by 10:24, and McCurtain by 10:27. Iron Bridge, if it holds together, which is possible, 10:30. So all locations here need to be sheltered. You need to be in a safe place in your lowest floor, most interior room. More walls between you and outside are going to keep you safest. More layers of protection if there is flying debris. We've already had reports of some tree damage in Quinton, so that would mean that they're certainly verifying the strong winds that are in place, regardless if there is something currently on the ground or not. Now, we do know that this warning goes till 10:15. This warning is still being held up by the National Weather Service and certainly warrants that, given the circulation at hand. To a more familiar scene for you on radar, we likely have some of the strongest hail south of Kenta right now. Our hail core is just passing south of Kenta. That means we're probably getting strong winds here in addition to quarter size or larger hail. And this is fast approaching LaQuire. So LaQuire, even if the circulation is just to your north, you're about to get buffeted by strong and damaging winds. That means you need to also be basically in your safe place to wait this out, especially if we get a slightly southward jaunt in the storm. That movement would certainly affect you if that were to occur. But we're seeing a fairly steady eastward movement so far, which I will show you right here. As you can see, the storm itself maybe just going a little south of east, at least according to this. So that would be good news for Stigler, but if you're watching us from LaQuire, this means you're potentially right in the path of where we could have this circulation. As we bring that back on here, we're going to jump forward just to show you where we are here in relation to Tulsa and I-40. This is well to the south in really central Haskell County right now. There's our circulation. We're looking at it from the Fort Smith radar site here. And once again, north of Kenta, probably most prominent location, but I'm going to say kind of this whole region just bounded by Highway 31 up to about the midpoint in the county here, where we have certainly concern for a spin-up. This will continue its way eastward at about 30, 35 miles per hour. Kenta, the worst of the storm, is bypassing you right now. Stay in your shelter for just a few more minutes, though, to let the worst of the storm continue its way eastward away from your location. Highway 2 right now, anywhere to the west, you're in the clear. This circulation is now moving beyond that point. We're still finding it quite a concern. Once again, just now, just to the east and northeast sides of Kenta, getting much closer to LaQuire as we speak. So please be sheltered in LaQuire. You are not officially in the warning in McCurtain, but be prepared to move to shelter. In fact, wouldn't hurt to head there right now, just so you are secure as this storm approaches you. The warning may be extended a bit further to the east. We are getting word also from the National Weather Service. A severe thunderstorm watch is going to include parts of our southernmost counties all the way till 5 o'clock this afternoon. So we're going to keep a close eye on this as well, because we might have additional severe storms blowing in this zone as we go through our Wednesday. Once again, we're joining you on Fox 23 right now because of a circulation that has developed along a storm that has moved into a moisture-rich environment, one that is characterized by a decent amount of heat for this time of day and also a lot of moisture. And because of that, even though it's 10 o'clock in the morning, we are dealing with a tornado threat because the environment is capable of supporting that. And we do have a boundary that is adding spin to the atmosphere, located from an east-northeastward movement to west-southwest. So kind of bisecting the storm. Where we get a boundary, we get added spin in the low levels of the atmosphere, and that's what can really induce a possible tornado. We're getting hail concerns near LaQuire. I'm going to turn on the hail mode here, and you'll see that we've seen a slight uptick in that size here just in the past scan. I'm going to sample that right now for you and just see within that zone we have at least quarter-size hail. There might be up to $half size hail. That would be even larger than what is considered the threshold for damaging hail. So be prepared for that in addition to the strong winds that are fast approaching LaQuire. We have a history of wind damage with this storm, and certainly that is going to be something that bears watching very, very closely. Circulation continues its way eastward. We have the pretty strong inbound winds here right through the center part of the county that is feeding the storm, and our reflectivity shows us that quite well. We have that inflow notch now fully to the east of Highway 2 and still to the west of Highway 82, and this continues its way eastward at about a 30-mile-per-hour clip, getting some of the strong winds flowing out from the storm, fast approaching LaQuire, so if it's not already there in town, it is likely about to get a little rough there. Hail and wind-driven hail at that, and wind gusts to maybe 60 or 70 miles per hour, certainly a concern. They have raised the threshold for the hail potential up to $half size, just under golf ball size hail here in Haskell County, so the storm appears to be latching on to that very moisture-rich environment, and that is going to continue to keep it sustained as it heads further east into the county. If you're watching us from Stigler right now, you're getting heavy rain, lots of lightning, some gusty winds. The core of the storm, the most concerning part, is to your south, but we want you basically from Stigler to LaQuire to be sheltered right now. We do have the warning that carries on for another 13 minutes here in the county. Widening the view a little bit, there is the movement. You can see it's moving generally east, maybe just slightly jogging south of east. And folks all the way to Podo need to be aware this could be heading your direction. If you have friends or family in Podo, maybe call them up, give them the heads up before the warning gets to them. So if they are in a spot that is not good to ride out a storm of this nature, including the threat for a tornado, then they can head to a safe place safely and with due time. This is the only warning we have in Green Country right now. This tornado warning carries us till 10:15, and this will continue its way through the eastern half of Haskell County here in the next 15 to 30 minutes. Beyond this storm, though, we have heavy rain that extends up north of I-40, but in the environment north of I-40, we find much more stable air. So the threat for dangerous severe weather involving high winds or tornadoes, not a concern for us. That threat for severe weather is highest in southeast Oklahoma. Back to our circulation, I'm going to take us back to that point where we find it here in central portions of Haskell County. Once again, it's fast approaching Highway 82. The circulation, maybe not quite as strong as I've seen earlier, but it's not a major change downward. So this still means it's a threat for a spin up at any point as this continues its way eastward. Just checking in on the latest update from the National Weather Service for the warning. This continues to be a warning for up to ping pong ball size hail, and the storm possible, the area of circulation 5 miles northeast of Kenta, continuing its eastward movement at 30 miles per hour. So that is the location right there to the northeast. Let's go ahead and put our latest track on this. This is going to take us once again toward the community of Lafayette at 10:12, Panther by 10:23, McCurtain by 10:26, and the Bordeaux area by 10:37, bringing us into portions of LaFleur County at this point, which just kind of is at the bounds of the Fox 23 viewing area. This continues to be a fairly tight circulation. It may have taken a slight downward trend for just a moment, but I still think it's within an environment and riding very close to a boundary that continues to add spin to the atmosphere. Give you a little closer view just so you can see the tightest area of circulation here to the northeast of LaQuire. Our latest scan still shows a fairly tight circulation, maybe even tighter than what it just was here, and it would be just very close to San Boys here, so just north of the town itself near West County Road 1280. If you're familiar with that, over to Lafayette, of course, Highway 82, a bigger road here. This is where the concern is right now. We want you to be sheltered in place anywhere near Highway 82. Anyone driving on Highway 82 is not in a good place right now, so we want you to be sheltered, prepared for this as a possible tornado. Haven't received confirmation that it is with us, but it is certainly something that will continue to be a concern, not only for the tornado, but also for the wind gusts that could be up to 70 miles per hour, specifically near San Bois and near LaQuire at this time. I'm going to widen the view just a hair here so we can see where this is in relation to the rest of Haskell County. And this is central and southern Haskell County. The threat is bypassing you to the south right now in Stigler, so that is good news. Indication of some pretty strong winds nonetheless, though, so we want you to be prepared for that as well. In the northern section of Haskell County, probably some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, even outside of that tornado circulation. Let's check back in on the hail. These storms have been a big hail threat throughout the course of our morning. That remains the case, but we've added the threat for high winds and tornado potential, and that's why we're joining you here live on Fox 23. Let's sample the hail size here, and it would be very close to the community of LaQuire. And 1.3 inches is the hail size. So that's the largest that we've encountered so far on this storm, as it's right along Highway 82 right now. Usually there's a delay with this particular product, so that means that you can basically take what you see here, project it just a few miles to the east. One thing to consider too, if you're watching us on a stream, you're also getting a bit of a delay, maybe a minute or two delay. So whatever I'm saying, that is a minute or two gone by, especially important to know if you are in the immediate path of this possible tornado here in Haskell County. Once again, our warning takes us to 10:15. This is going to continue its way through central Haskell County. Let's go back to our velocities here so you get a sense of where this is. I'm going to widen the view a little bit. There we are south of Stigler to the north of LaQuire. Still a distinct circulation on radar. We haven't yet had confirmation that this is occurring, but it is certainly tight enough that there still might be a tornado here. I'm going to jump over to the correlation coefficient. Wind the view a little bit here. Not immediately concerned that we have lofted debris, but there are likely strong winds. There's still probably going to be tree debris regardless, just because of the nature of the winds down here. And there is the reflectivity, indicating the strength of the precipitation or the heaviness of it. And where you see the purples, that's where we have the heaviest rain and hail occurring at this time, which is pretty much right near and along Highway 82 between Stigler and down to LaQuire, and even just a little south of LaQuire, where we're finding the potential for hail as well. Our velocity here, still tight, still warrants us being with you right now here on Fox 23. Watching a potential area of circulation maybe near Stigler as well. I believe the boundary is awfully close to there. I'm going to check that out, where that boundary is, just so I have a better sense of that right now, because that would be important to knowing if we are dealing with anything that is potentially spinning up along the boundary there. We're getting some pretty strong winds in Wilburton and Stigler right now as well, gusts to near 30 miles per hour at this time. And as we jump over, I'm just looking at a few products off air at the moment. And yeah, in Stigler, we're still within the moisture-rich environment, so that's within a zone where if we have added concerns, that might be something that is worth watching as well. So please be in your shelter still within Stigler and anywhere from LaQuire over to McCurtain. Our warning has not yet been extended, but we're in close contact with the National Weather Service, and they will let us know as soon as they hear of any other reason to continue the warning or to potentially let it go by the wayside. But as of now, it still is a point of concern for circulation. And there is the overall movement that you see on radar. It seems to be bowing out a little bit. Just based upon reflectivity, that would indicate perhaps a slightly lower threat of a tornado, but an enhanced threat of high winds, where we kind of have that bulge there. And that would continue its way right eventually into western Lafleur County with time. So in addition to a tornado threat, high winds are certainly something that bear watching very closely. So there we are with our circulation right now, pretty close to the community of LaQuire, a little bit to your north, right along Highway 82 is where that circulation is crossing as we speak. So as I take us to the velocity here, this is going to continue to cross Highway 82 towards McCurtain County. Perhaps a bit of good news here is that we have a newly added severe thunderstorm warning. What that tells me is that the threat is starting to transition from a threat of a tornado to one of high winds and the potential for hail. That latest warning is going to take us all the way till 11 o'clock this morning, that severe thunderstorm warning, which is including areas to the east. It would include Keota, McCurtain, over to KOKI, and that potential for a tornado is still with us near and now just to the east of Highway 82. If you are to the west of Highway 82, you are now in the clear with regards to this circulation. If you're in Stigler, you're getting some pretty high winds right now. I'd hunker down. I'd still stay put where you are, watching us closely. High winds certainly bear watching as well. This is, once again, seeming like we're getting a more outward push of the storm here, which would indicate that high wind potential taking to be probably the greatest concern. Now, we still have a tornado warning for another few minutes. We're going to stay with you as long as we have a tornado warning that is active in our Fox 23 viewing area. A hail threat still ongoing. The storm is still quite strong and obviously severe with the warning. And this threat for hail and high winds approaching McCurtain over to Keota and heading into LaFleur County, moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. I'll draw on a track here just to give you kind of a sense of where we are in regards to that largest hail, and once again, a threat for a potential spin up that still is a concern moving into this environment. If you're in McCurtain, this will be over you, probably with the worst of the storm about 10:24, Dog Creek by 10:38, the Latham area by 10:43, Bikoshi by 10:46, and Calhoun by 10:50. So, okay, good news is that we've just learned that the tornado warning has been allowed to expire. Meteorologist Phil Price passing that along to me right now, watching the storm very closely alongside me. Here's one more view before we let you go here. We do have our severe thunderstorm warning. This is a warning that is certainly bears kind of hunkering down for. It is warned for up to $half size hail and 70-mile-per-hour winds, moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. So you want to take this storm seriously. The threat for a tornado has dropped off, but you still want to be in a place of safety as this severe thunderstorm passes. It's moving fairly quickly. And once this storm clears, we have one more that is a little further behind that we'll find to the southwest of McAllister. But right now that storm track is a little further to the south. So we're probably going to see that miss the Fox 23 viewing area. And instead, we're watching this one final cell reaching LaFleur County here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So it's the eastern half of Haskell County getting the worst of the storm right now. And this warning, once again, is transitioning to a severe thunderstorm warning. One more check of velocities before we let you go. It's still going to be northeast of LaQuire, but it's such a lower, just in this past scan, a much more diffuse circulation, as in it's not as well organized. It's not as well defined, and therefore as it pushes eastward, the concern is just for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts heading its way towards LaFleur County. All right, that's your update for us here at Fox 23. Of course, we're going to be watching this very closely, and if we have another threat of a tornado, we'll be back right on your Fox 23 screen. We'll, of course, bring you a complete weather update coming up in just a little over 45 minutes on Fox 23 News at 11 a.m. We'll see you then.
To track